Thank you for checking out the Anodized Chef. Last episode was all about the meat. This episode, there is no meat. We are going to cater to the vegetarians today. Watch this. So today we're going to make a vegetarian penne with a wild mushroom vodka sauce. And we're going to start by going through the list of ingredients. I've got an olive oil, an extra virgin olive oil here, but it's got some peppercorns in it. It's just an infused version that we use here, but you can use a standard extra virgin olive oil. We've got some caramelized onions that we went ahead and caramelized up ahead. Basically that's a half of a large Spanish onion, cut into strips and then sauteed with a little bit of this same olive oil until they get nice and brown. We've got a fresh beefsteak tomato. We only need about half of that for each sauté dish that we're going to do. So based on the number of people that you're going to have, you're going to want to increase that, but you'll see that in the recipe. Half of a tomato will feed 2 people. And that's what we're going to do today. So then we have some wild mushrooms, and my favorite wild mushroom is the cremini. But you can buy, and what all the cremini is really is a baby portobello mushroom. You can buy shiitake, you can buy oyster. There's a whole plethora of mushrooms that you can pick from, your favorite ones. But I like the creminis because they're the baby portobellos. They're more meaty and they have a lot more of a rich, deep, dark flavor. So that's why we're using those in this application. I've got some fresh minced garlic. I have some Parmesan cheese. And during this episode, as I go, and I'm hoping that Bob can work with me on this, we're also going to kind of coach you on how you can turn this vegetarian dish into a vegan dish. And some of the steps we're going to take, we can talk to you about, and maybe Bob can do a little pop-up like right here. Say with this Parmesan cheese, there's a product called Galaxy that you can substitute, and it's actually a powdered vegetable that tastes like cheese that you can use in place of the cheese. We have some frozen peas. We have a half cup of vodka, and if this shoot takes long, it may go down to a quarter cup of vodka, but I'll let you know. We have some cream, and also, again, vegan, you can use soy cream. We have the edge, obviously, we're going to kick that up a little bit. We've got some butter, you can just omit that if you're vegan, you want to just leave that right out. I've got some fresh herbs, I've got some fresh chopped parsley, and some fresh minced basil. And then we have some penne. Now, with the penne, for vegans, you can just leave the egg out and just find the eggless pasta. Or just go with that instead. So now, that being said, that's our list of ingredients here. We do have some cut work to do, and I'm going to let Bob kind of shoot me doing some of that work here. We're going to take this beefsteak tomato here, and we're going to cut the half piece, like I said, and we just want it to be diced. Make sure your knife is good and sharp. Cut it right down in half, and then cut the core part out. Trim that right out. Then we're going to cut it into strips. Be very, very careful, especially with the ripe tomatoes. And then turn it, and we're going to cut it into strips this way. And we're going to turn it again, and that's how we do our dice. Now, the best technique, and the funny thing is how they teach you in school, is they teach you in school to go with the skin side. But if you just saw me, I cheated a little bit and I went with the soft side. The reason why I went with the soft side is because the knife tends to cut through that soft side a little bit easier. They don't tell you that in school because they want you to do it just like the French chefs do. So you cut this out, you cut it into strips, and then you cut it this way. But know that that skin on the outside is a lot harder to cut, especially with the red tomato. It's a lot harder to cut. So I cheated a little bit, but that's okay. You don't have to tell anybody, it's fine. So we've got our diced tomatoes, and then I'm going to take the rest of these cremini mushrooms. And you can't have too many wild mushrooms as far as I'm concerned. So we're going to go ahead and just cut them into strips and add them with the stuff I've already done. So now that that knife work is done, check these guys out. Ashes Within. So the song you're listening to right now is called Censure, and it's off their upcoming album, Declaration of Internal War. You want to know more about these guys? Check them out on asheswithin.com. You can go to their Facebook fan page, or you can click on any link on anodizedchef.com. We've got a page set up just for these guys. We're going to start by heating up our saute pan, the same saute pan we use in most of our episodes. We're going to add about 2 tablespoons of our extra virgin olive oil. and we look at our vegetables, and the things that are going to take the longest to cook are going to be the mushrooms, because they're in the rawest state. So let's go ahead and get them in there. Now, one of the things I want to point out is with our pasta, we went ahead and we boiled it ahead of time according to package directions. So you'll know it'll be ready to go. That's the key, is to have it all ready to go. So boil it up ahead. Don't cook it all the way. Cook it so it's al dente. And then just cool it down and set it aside. And those mushrooms just absolutely suck up the rest of that oil. But at this stage of the game, this is where we want to add our garlic and our herbs. And what I like to do is I like to have, all right, I added about a teaspoon of garlic, same on the basil, and same on the parsley. We're going to reserve some of those herbs to garnish the top at the end as well. So let's go ahead and saute that up a little bit. And you can start to see the mushrooms are starting to change color a little bit, and they're starting to soften up a little. Even though they suck that oil up, they're still sauteing a little bit. One thing you got to be careful of is, now that that oil is gone, and we'll run it at such a high heat, you got to be careful of the garlic burning. So I'm going to turn this down to just a simmer, and let those flavors kind of permeate a little bit. Grab a pair of tongs and spread out the love. Let's open up this pit. All right, now we're going to go ahead and add our onions and tomatoes. Now be careful here, because there's some juice, some natural juice in the tomatoes that obviously is going to make a little bit more noise, because that's just how it rolls. Oh man. Garlic, basil, and onions. That aroma, along with the raw mushrooms and tomatoes, absolutely incredible. So this is looking like it's starting to come together now. What we're going to do now is we're going to add a half cup of vodka, move it away from the fire, and I'll tell you why in a second. Oh, done. All right, so we added our vodka. We're going to let that reduce down a little bit. But just remember, move the alcohol away from the fire, because if that alcohol comes in contact with the fire, there's a very good chance it's going to flame up on you. You want to be careful. Then we're going to add 3/4 cup of cream. And that just seems to quiet things right down a little bit. But I'll tell you something. The color of this sauce, all of those flavors coming together in that sauce, really making a big impact here. Another thing, to talk about the tomatoes. I used fresh tomato in this. If you wanted to make it a little bit more rich and a little bit more dense, you can go ahead and roast the tomatoes ahead of time, or grill them to give them a nice little charred flavor, or slow roast it in the oven with a little olive oil on them. Oh man, let me tell you, they'll break down and be a lot more soft, but they'll also it'll add a lot more depth to the sauce. I like and it really depends on the season, but I like the brightness of the new tomato, the clean, fresh tomato. All right, now let's add some peas. We'll add about a half a cup of peas. And what we're going to do now is, instead of heating the pasta up on the side in water and then adding it to it, we're going to take this pasta and just dump it right in there, because we want that sauce to penetrate the pores of that pasta and bring the final cooking stage of that pasta right together. So. That way. And then we're going to do our seasoning right toward the end. Oh yeah, let this come together. You know what, let's go just another minute. Oh. We're going to add our edge. And right now I've got about a teaspoon. You can always add more later. And then I've got my Parmesan cheese. And what this is going to do is, this will help to bring the thickness to the sauce and a little bit more saltiness. That's why I only added 1 teaspoon of the edge to it, because I didn't want to go too crazy. And now there you go. Now it's going to look like a finished sauce. And then wouldn't be the Anodized Chef without a teaspoon of butter going in there just to kind of finish it all off. And we'll let that swirl right into that sauce and we'll call it a day. Now, that's very classical, both French and Italian techniques all together, but not exactly the healthiest on the planet. But it's all vegetables. There's no meat. So again, if you want to make this vegan and less messy, you can very easily just follow the advice I gave you earlier in the episode with some of those little tricks on the vegan food with the Galaxy and the soy cream. Let me just give this a taste here. Come over here and grab a tasting spoon and try this sauce out here. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not one for vegetarian food, but this is one of those dishes that you're not really gonna miss the meat. You're really not. So, I'm gonna go ahead and plate this up and we'll talk about the wine. So we topped it with the rest of that Parmesan cheese, a little bit of fresh basil, the rest of that basil and the parsley, and it's good to go. And we decided to pair it with a 2010 Sauvignon Blanc. It's a Spanish one, and the name of it is Actum. And what we found is it's a very, very bright, light white wine, and it's got a very high lemon lime flavor to it, and it goes very, very well with vegetables. So we thought it would be perfect with a nice vegetarian dish. Definitely worth a look. Actum 2010 Sauvignon Blanc. That being said, Blanc. How do I say it? That being said, thank you very much for joining us in our magic, madness, and mayhem. We'll see you next time.